Okay. Can you hear me? Yes. Perfect. Hello. I like it to be here today. Also, some face that I had in other meetings that I'm happy to see. And today we're gonna talk about Angular 17. But before to start, I want to ask you, how many of you are using Angular in production right now? Which version are you using? 16. Okay. And the other hand, let's see them. 15, nice, like us. Perfect. That's so nice because nowadays the people think, okay, Angular is changing a lot, but in the market, when you go, most of the people are using Angular 14, 15. Some company are using 10. I hope not too much. But before to start to talk about Angular 17, I want to give a small overview about the history about Angular and how they works to become and release the version 17 and see what happens. So before to start, my name is Dany Paredes. I am Angular GDE, technical writer for Telerik and also Google. And of course, I'm part of InnoIT. I write content in my blog, dannywas.com. That is not important. Important is Angular. Okay. You said at the beginning, I say I love the MBA. If you join to another talk by me, you know that I use a lot of GIF about MBA. You know that? So I want to tell you, at the beginning, when we start to use JavaScript, we have three good players. We have good memories with jQuery. For me, jQuery is like Jordan. But of course, Jordan is not playing anymore, right? Okay, so we have good memories about that framework. That framework allowed us to create a lot of applications fast, but the maintenance is not easy or a little bit complex. So when jQuery get out, I need to trust in another player, right? So we trust in, of course, AngularJS. Maybe some of you doesn't know, but Angular was the first framework based in components. I know that when the people say, oh, what is first framework? I remember the beginning of Angular was crazy for me. It was like, oh my God, we can build application faster. But other players appears in that time. I don't want to mention, of course. Of course. But during that time, I want to do a small recap. In the 2016, we got Angular 2 that was forget AngularJS, embrace the TypeScript. The people at that time they say, oh, TypeScript, this sucks. No, sucks, because most of framework now are using TypeScript. We released Angular 4, okay, because the 3, where it's going? No problem. We trust in Angular. And on top of that, during that time, we released more versions, the 5, the 6, and the 7 and 8. Can you remember a nice feature that you say right now, wow, well, that's a game changer in the version 6 or 5? No, the version 4 brings with the HTTP client, the guards, that was very helpful. But the next version was like, don't impact the market right now. But then during this time, the player that appears really learned very good from Angular. And he takes the advantage of that in the market. You know that. Because if you read the message clear, that player, the blue player, is really the change of the market. He changed the market. We know that. So, Angular say, okay, no problem, you change the market, but we are LeBron, we are the kings. So no problem, we teach you at the beginning. So we trust in Ivy. Okay, Ivy take a little bit more time than we expected, no problem. But we include type checking and OIT. And in the version 10 to the 13, we work very hard to improve and establish the core of Angular. But I want to be transparent. In version 14 was the first version of Angular, from my point of view, that I feel that they hurt the community. They start listening. They open some requests for comment where the people can tell the Angular what they want for the future. Because maybe, or my feelings is the new joiners, they don't like to, or they don't feel comfortable playing with Angular. They just want to create a component and render. And the Angular learning curve is a little bit higher because you need to learn a lot of topics. But the people that have applications with more than 5 or 8 years, for me, it's very comfortable to use modules. And for me, it's not a big problem to use RxJS. But when I try to explain to my son what is RxJS, was a little bit sad because it takes time to learn. And I know most of the new developers that come to the market, they just want to create application, and you want to use the tools when you really need. So, in the version 12, we got a standard alone. For me, it was a very nice feature. Here in the version 15, we got the composition API. From my point of view, the best feature that Angular did. And also we got signals, iteration in preview, and we start to take a little bit away from Webpack, doing some labs with SBuild and Vite. Okay, so Angular heard the community. They know the people want to code fast. They don't want to spend too much time to just build a small application. So I need to tell you that Angular released the version 17. They changed the logo, but this is not only the change. That is very nice, the logo. I have some slide for you. I would like, if some of you knows a nice feature that you like it for the version 16 or the version 17, please raise your hand. I will give you a sticker. Okay, Fireship. I don't know how you are registered in Fireship. This is top guy for you stay updated in 5 seconds what's happening in the market, in the development. He said the Angular back with a vengeance. I tell you this is true because I know we have short time today, but we have some features to talk with today. So that's too many change, but not change because we are not creating Angular from zero. We are here in the community and give to the community what really they want. So let's start with the new homepage, angular.dev. If you go to angular.io, this is not the best website for find. I feel sometimes lost when I try to find some documentation. Also, Webpack have with us too much time. But if you are playing with Vue, with React, with other frameworks, they are not using Webpack. So Angular now support Vite and ESBuild to fast the building. And also in the past release, Angular released a small extension. You can debug your application, but now they support dependency injection, debugging. Most of you, when you use an inject decorator and need to find which the token of that injector, is not easy to debug. In the new version, only for version 17, they have that feature. So the new website, of course, they have a new website with new documentation. They have a sandbox where you can play with Angular without install the CLI in your machine. So if you want to test Angular again, because you can test again, you can go to the website and play with Angular there. Also, we have SBuild. You can make your application building so fast. I write content for Telerik. I have a small medium-sized application that I built 3 months ago. And when I rebuild again in Angular 17, I got crazy about the numbers. So if you want to test that point, I highly recommend. Also, the debugging tools. This is something that I wish have to have that for version 15 or 16 because it's that version that we have in our company. But now when you need to see what is the injector that you have for that service and where it's coming from, now Angular can do that only for version 17. Okay, what's more? I know that most of you maybe are waiting for the fair, and because it's the most trending topic, but now I want to show you some features that most of people is not talking too much. Because the defer is everywhere, or the new syntax, yeah, it's nice, but we have other things to show. For example, the input transform. For me, this is very helpful when you have a component that only that you need to pass a object, but for example, you have an interface that have a contract, but you don't want to expose that contract, so you can say, hey, no, please give me that structure that inside my component I will to transform to match to my contract. Also, the trending topic, new syntax, add, if, else. Now, no more directive. We're going to use the similar directive or the similar way like other frameworks are doing. That is something, from my point of view, will help a lot the Angular the people will start to coding with Angular. They don't feel like, oh, why is not like React or not like Svelte? Now it's the same. And also, you don't need to import anymore the AGE or AG4 in your standalone component if you are using. Also, the async animation that by default now is loading. So, sorry, I'm going a little bit faster, but I don't know how I'm going with the time. But I know there are too many features to show. So now you have here, okay, perfect. You have that way in the input, you have Angular provide for you that kind of transformation, like number attribute or Boolean attribute, and he can transform your value from your component to Boolean or number. Or you can build your own transform. That is my example. Here I have a schedule module that is something from Kendo. And here I need to transform the array of the book course to I need to transform to this function that is here, and that function will to transform to one event schedule interface. So I don't need to expose some interface from or some type from my inputs. Also, if you see here, no more bracket for binding. Yeah, you say maybe other framework do that. Yeah, but now we are doing, and we are doing very good. So, what more? NGIF, NGL. For sure, I'm one of the guys that every time that I a little bit confused, sometimes I need to go to the documentation. We have that code that for me, they have more than, I don't know how many years playing with Angular. It's normal. But for one people from React or other framework that comes to work with Angular, his job is in Angular, he feels not comfortable. Also, with the switch, oh my God, the switch is. Now we have add, if, else. That's it. No complex. It's easy. The same with the switch. I think I don't need to explain that slide. You can understand. Perfect. Also, they provide animation async to make it a little bit faster your bundle size when you start the application. Yeah, more features. We have the lifecycle hooks in developer preview. We have server-side render, and we have signals. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So we have now new lifecycle hook in preview that we will allow to us to render some like hooks when the view render for the first time or the last time that the DOM has been hydrated. This is in preview that is released now in the 17th. Also, we have the server-side rendering, and that is something important because, for my point of view, Angular did very well his work with server-side rendering. Angular was created for create single-page application. I don't know how many of you are using or try to use Angular server-side with the way. It's not easy. You need to complex. You need to install one package for Express, and the configuration is very, very painful. Now, Angular, when you start your CLI and create a new application, that starts by default. They ask to you if you want to create with SR, or if you already have your application and want to add later, you just need to run that command. It's one single package and easy to configure. Okay, signals. This is a huge topic that I feel sad that only we have short time to talk about, but signal is, for my point of view, another game changer for Angular. Why? Because when a new developer starts to work with Angular and need to make a small HTTP request and need to react to a small change, you need to say, hey, you need an observable, and you need a behavior subject, and you need a subject, and you know that you need to subscribe for the, you must to unsubscribe from the subject. But if a HTTP client that return observable, you don't need to unsubscribe. So you don't know when the hell you need to unsubscribe. So it's not easy for when people start to play with Angular and RxJS. And Signal is a very easy API for create reactive application in Angular. That doesn't mean that Angular will deprecate or remove RxJS. Rx is in the heart of Angular. You have the reactive forms. You still having the HTTP client full embrace with the observables or RxJS. So the key point here is you only need to start use RxJS when you really need. Because RxJS is so powerful when you need to, for example, start a HTTP request, but you want to cancel that request. It's very easy with observables. With signals, you have a single API that declares signals with a type, and you have the method set to set the value and update to update the value. That's it. If you want to react to some change, you can create a computed. They have other types like effect, but still now in they switch back again to developer preview. So we need to take a time to start to play with that. But if you want to start to play with signals, it's a good time to do that. So what is the next? Okay, we need to talk about server-side rendering, but we need to talk about the deferred, the styles, the pre-correct image directly, that is so powerful right now, the testing, and of course the effect in developer preview, and also the iteration. I don't have a slide about the defer because when the people told me, hey, it's only 25 minutes, I say, let me to reduce the amount of slides. But the defer for me is a nice way for you optimize your application. We have lazy loading right now, but it's not real lazy loading. My friend Besail, that he's here, he said that this is it's a fake because you are not solving the real problem. You only divide the problem in small problems. I don't know how to translate that to English, but it's the best way. But the deferred way or the optimization in Angular with lazy loading, you need to learn about lazy loading strategies. You need to do some hack with add some values in the router data to know if that property comes and now you know it can load that route. It's not easy. It's very, very not tricky, but takes time for one person that started doing application. In the defer, we have a single, very similar to the syntax of the ngIf, ng4, and you can declare section that you want to load, and they have some triggers for the defer. For example, you want to one component only load when the user click or when the user go to the viewport, or when some property change his value, then Angular get that tune for that component from the server. But you say, Dany, that sounds for me. Yeah. If you work with Astro or you work with other frameworks, they have that feature. And Angular knows that this is work and works very well. So why not bring that? That's sense. It's not like a big, oh, Astro have that feature, I can do that. No. if this Astro had a feature and other framework, it's like signals. Signals come from Solid.js. Solid.js is created for Ryan Carnato. Ryan Carnato worked with the team de Angular to bring signal to Angular because it's a best way to make and build reactive application. So we will bring that for us. So we have the same feature of Astro, we have the same feature of Svelte, the syntax, we have the same performance with Signal like Solid, so you don't have a new reason to don't play with Angular. So yeah, it's too much thing to learn, and of course, I'm not expert in every topic. Of course, I have a family. I work with Besael. I need time to learn every feature. My advice is embrace the community. I don't have too much time to learn every single, but of course, Rainer Hanekamp, he explained to me about some point about the signals. Or Besael, he released some new article about how to work with Angular 17. Dmitry Misensky, he's create very good content about Angular and some features that I didn't have time to learn. So my advice is go to the community, for example, watch video from other content creators, learn from that, and maybe, as Mitri said a few minutes ago, or you, maybe you can be here in next event giving a talk about some feature about Angular. Like me, I'm not expert. I'm a guy that takes time to learn something. But you can do the same like me. So that's it. Any question?
Two frameworks. My goal today is for 2 years. We started two small projects. I was not very happy about my architect because he decided to do it in TypeScript, and I'm really not a big fan of that. But we had a small group of 5 people, and the only language that everybody could do was JavaScript. And the first thing was I had a lot of difficulties. Yeah, with the click. It doesn't matter like that. Difficulties with the first project. I only had like a REST API client, yeah, to handle the database actions and to create a REST API, and also with the Swagger documentation. And that was a big pain. I hated TypeScript. I hated my architect because the only thing after a while I only made any, yeah. And we decided, I think everybody knows Express here. Yeah, Express. But that in TypeScript was big pain. I'm a big fan of model view controller. I'm not an expert, but I think I'm a good developer in Python, C#, ASP.NET. I like these two. In Python, I'm a fast API, and in C# is ASP.NET. And they're pretty nice principle. I like MVC and dependency injection. I said, hey, why the hell I need to develop everything? Why there's not a framework with a logger, with Swagger? Because it was a big pain with Express to do the Swagger documentation. It's what a lot of boilerplate. Now, first of all, I will introduce something about me. Then I will introduce that first framework, TS.ed. And then the second framework was Prisma, what I was using at the second project. The first project, I did everything by my own. I created the model view controller. I created the own class, everything in JavaScript, in TypeScript, and was a pain. And also, after a while, I used only any. It was very bad habit. I couldn't handle it anymore. Even the responses, the types in Express, the request, it didn't function. I did horrible wrong. And in the second project, I used this framework, and it was much better. First of all, something about me. Oh, Again. There we go. Actually, I'm not a Python, I'm not a JavaScript developer. I'm data scientist and backend developer. Usually main language what I use is Python, Rust, and C#, and now also Java because I'm working for an insurance company. Very, very old code. Very, very old legacy code. Very, very bad. Pays not too shabby, but very bad code. For 2 years, like I said, we had 2 small projects. The second project, I finally found this nice framework because hey, there must be a framework what MVC, dependency injection, controllers, and even the decorators, what I love about Python, are also in that framework. Yeah. What is TS.ed? Like I said, it's based on Express. Yeah? Express, I think it's pretty solid and a big community. And what I liked about TS.ed was there's many third parties libraries what you can use, what you just click, and it's a nice initialization. And out of the box, you have a lot of tools, really a lot of tools. While using it, like I said, out of the box, my first project, all the logging, I used Pino. Like I said, I'm not a big expert in the libraries, but I must admit the community of JavaScript, they have some nice libraries. This one, I also like Bulls and Prisma, what I will later also show. And like I said, the logging comes out of the box. The Swagger documentation comes out of the box. I need to do nothing, only with a small decorator, yeah, and testing also. The testing, easy, yeah. Like I like it, like also in C# or Pythonic, like in Python, it's readable. I can do the integration test like that. It's really nice, yeah. And also solid documentation. And what is also nice is a validation. I used sort in the first project, a library, and that also comes out of the box. You just make an object. For example, it's really easy. You say name is string, and if in the body, I have a show piece. Not here. Okay, doesn't matter. I think I have it right away. The benefits really are decorators, big, like I said, like that. Here, out of the box, the decorators, and there's a lot of built-in functions. And the documentation of that site is really, really good. And for most of your REST IP calls, it's really, really good. Good documentation, and Docker comes out of the box. That is really, really good. Yeah. Like the initialization is really, really good. You can use which I only know Express. I must admit Core. I have no idea about Core. The project style, the style, I use database, Swagger, testing, and linter. Prisma, I use Jest. Jest, you can also use Mocha, but I think that's not a big issue. And you can use ESLint and definitely NPM, what I'm also not a big fan of. Even Jan not, because after 2 weeks I only see warnings. Yeah, but that really out of the box, really good, and everything in TypeScript. And that is what I wanted to say. Out of the box, a validation. If you don't put a string on, yeah, you can write off the box with decorators. If you don't put a string or just a number, it will fail. Even if you, for example, make a model and put it into a post, and it doesn't, for example, for the rate, it's not a number, it will fail. And you will see directly in the Swagger documentation, when you try it, you will see the error message. It's included. It's really, really nice. You don't need, very good. Up, up, up. You find it right in the Swagger documentation, and you don't need to do it by your own. Like that was my fault in the first project. I tried to, to invent the real new. Yeah. And with that framework, you have everything included. It's really, in my eyes, it's really, really good. I cannot say nothing about now robust. It was a small project, but it works still. Yeah? It's really nice, and the community also, they help me. The only problem what I had is a little bit with dependency injection with testing. Yeah? Integration test was not a big problem, but I had some problems, the documentation, but it can also be of my knowledge and TypeScript. Okay, now the second library, I think that it's more here more popular, is Prisma. I liked it very, very much, but I must admit, it's not when you have a big complex SQL UML diagram, then it's not very good. For example, if you have like 10 or 14 classes, many relation, because in Prisma is one, who everybody already used one time Prisma. The problem is that one file, you can only in one file declare everything, and it's very, very messy. I like it more, I must admit. There's another library in Python that every class is separate. It's cleaner in my eyes, but Prisma is out of the box. It's a really nice thing. And out of the box comes, they say no SQL, but I must admit I only use it for SQL database. I never use it with Mongo. Yeah? But they say you can also use no SQL. What is very good? It's quite easy. And if you have not so much knowledge about relationships, one-to-one, one-to-many, it helps you. When it's not too complex. Prisma, if you define here something and you miss something, even in Visual Code, there are some nice extensions. If you just format, it will correct it. When it's not too complicated, it's really nice when you don't have the knowledge. When it comes suddenly for ambiguous relation, that it's like I said, not for complex stuff, but if you have a group and they are not so experienced, Prisma is a nice tool, really nice tool. And you have built-in TypeScript models to when you do Prisma generate, then you have that client and you can use it. That's really, really nice. Time? Doesn't matter. And the time after you generate, you have it in your library and you can use the function. And they're pretty straightforward, I must admit. They're really pretty straightforward. All asynchronous, but really good, I must admit. And it's also, you can also use it for different languages. Like in Python, you can use it for also Java and Go, and I think also C#. And you have also a migration tool. That's also, if you change any value, even if you have, for example, you change a value from a string to a number, yeah? You can migrate it, or you put another value. That's also very nice. Yeah? It's 3-in-1. And you also have a GUI. Yeah? That GUI is really nice. Yeah? But what I was used normally, I got used to these stupid GUIs. I'm not sure. I'm not happy with these. Yeah? Yeah? But that Prisma is really like a tool all in one. It is really, really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah? And like I said, that is like the thing what you have then. Everything is put together. You have Docker. Everything is included. It's really, really nice. Yeah? Conclusion, I must admit, have a look at these two frameworks. I must admit, when I started with the first project, to do everything on your own was a big hassle, and these two frameworks helped me a lot. I must admit, it's quite a game changer for this kind of work. Yeah? And good principle like dependency injection, testing, principle, model view controller, logging, Swagger, etc. Yeah, that's it, and simple to use, I must admit. Any questions?